Hello and welcome to my technical analysis YouTube channel. My name is Max. I've been trading for about 15 plus years, actively trading, Grok Trade mentored, freeonlinetradingeducation.com. I'm mentored by them. I've taken their 201 courses. I've traded professionally with T3. I've traded with SureTrader. I've traded futures, crypto, options, stocks, and I'm obsessed with technical analysis, risk management, etc. Everything in this video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not use this as financial advice. It's not a recommendation. It's for entertainment purposes only. Please do not use this for any financial decisions. That being said, let's jump into it. This is the S&P 500 E-mini futures contract. Got our minor trend line drawn, minor support, minor resistance, trend lines drawn, wholesale, retail. We were up here, actually overshot it a bit. As you can see, sold back down below it. Trend line is so perfect that we ended up closing January of this year right at it. Ended up opening February lower. I think that might have been a new contract opening up, but regardless, ended up opening lower, came back up, test, drop, lower. It's a very similar setup to 2008, 2009. As you can see, we're rebounding to the 10 simple moving average. Times before, it's always kind of during crashes, it's kind of been the case. We're also below, like we were back then in 2000, below the zero line for the MACD. Same thing here. Same thing here. It's not looking good for equities, futures, stocks. It's just not looking good to me at all. If we're going to see a similar repeat, we should be dropping from these levels. This would be, in my opinion, not financial advice, a good area where I personally would want to be getting out of stocks. I just don't see the upside. I don't see it. Could we get a double top here? I guess. You know, we are pretty extended on the MACD here. We've had a big giant move on the MACD, but it seems more likely this is going to be it. This is going to be the level. If we do close green for the month of August and then we drop and we get a big red month here or a couple red months here, I would expect some type of little rebound, kind of like we had here before the big drop, just because we'd be dropping off of a green candle. If we close August red and then we drop, there's a chance that September, October, November, it could be really, really, really red. But if this closes green and we drop off of it, I would expect some kind of little rebound, probably in these more recent lows down here before we go lower. So let's see what happens. It's not looking good in my opinion when it comes to equities, stocks. It's just not. It's not looking good at all. You can look at it across the board. It's a very similar setup. On the monthly, very similar setup. MACD really overextended here, pullback. It's the same thing across the board. They all look the same. The one bright spot is the Nikkei, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's actually popping off of a green bar. It's been consolidating. You've got resistance not too far higher though, so it's not like it looks that great, but I mean, this has been consolidating for a while and you've got a green kind of signal bar here that's trying to pop up. But in general, stocks are just not looking that good to me. They're just not looking that good to me at all. Some look better than others, but they're just, you know what I mean, depending on where they're at. Some look better than others, you know, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. So banks still up here, close to resistance, similar kind of setup as 2008, almost a little bit worse than 2008. It was such a big drop, pull back. That tells me we're probably going to roll over and die here, however long it takes. So let's move on to our note and bonds channel that goes all the way back to 2000, broken, pullback, putting in a red month to go lower, not looking good for September. Look at the 30-year channel goes back to 1999, broken, putting in a pullback off that 10 SMA, signal bar, red signal bar, setting up for a very bearish September, October. This would push rates up. We don't even have a MACD divergence yet, nothing of the sort like we had here. So we need to see what happens down here. Maybe we could drop, maybe get a reversal candle down here, but this is not looking good. I mean, to break down out of this channel, it's just not looking good at all. And if you consider this an inverted cup and handle here, cup, handle, and you measure the move, we still got lower to go. We're going to reach this 2013 area, 127 on the 30 year. So that's going to push rates up even higher probably, right? So not looking that good for bonds. If we go over to the euro, which trades inversely to the dollar, this does give me some hope. I think we are getting kind of close to a bottom on the euro. We're really extended on the MACD, as you can see. Really getting pretty extended here. And we have this very obvious trend line here. Goes back to 2005, and we're coming right into it. I also have this black one. I don't trust it. I don't like it as much. But if we did break this trend line, I would expect us to get down to this black one to find support. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think this purple trend line is going to end up being support. We're dropping off a green bar, which gives me more confidence in us finding a bottom sooner than later. We've got the MACD divergence on the weekly, and we've dropped off a green bar. Like, this is the second time it's happening. We're really extended. I think we can definitely see a bottom in this area. It's not too much lower, but we still probably got at least 3% lower at least. And we could even overshoot this and wick, you know what I mean? Wick back into it. So, you know, we could drop maybe even 6% and then wick back up. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. But regardless, once we get back down to this trend line, I'm going to be definitely looking to probably buy some crypto, maybe buy some gold and silver. We'll see. Not financial advice. So we're close. When we look at the dollar, it's the same thing on the weekly. We've got the MACD divergence. We're popping off of a red candle, so I'm not expecting this thing to just go forever. The most obvious setup is the dollar. We have this very clean trend line here, channel. But trend line, we have this very clean, these blue lines, this channel. So very clean area. It's really extended on the MACD. We're getting in these upper areas. So that being said, I mean, look what happened back in like the 80s. Just went on a tear. You know, we have this symmetrical, we've broken up out of it. This thing's pretty extended on the monthly though. I think it would make sense for this thing to like get up to this channel and then take some time to set up to go higher if it wants to. But regardless, I'm looking for a move. It's quite a bit higher, and since the euro and the dollar trade similar to each other, I don't know if it's going to get inversely to each other. I don't know if it's going to get all the way up here. We'll have to wait and see. It's setting up for September to be pretty damn bullish for the dollar, but we've got this MACD divergence on the weekly. So, you know, are we going to grind higher and then September a quick pop and drop? Seems kind of likely to me. So September is lining up for crypto to find a bottom. It's lining up for the dollar to find a top. That's it. I mean, you know, and stocks are probably gonna, like I said, if they do drop in September, we should get a relief rally because it's dropping off that green monthly. So kind of everything's kind of lining up where like September, you could see a bottom in crypto even if we drop first, and you could see a pop in the dollar, but I think we would run into resistance. We also have this daily trend line coming up here. And people are thinking we're going to get a double top here. I don't think so. This doesn't look like a double top. This looks like a bull flag, and we're bouncing here. And it looks like we're going to break this high, and it looks like we're going to probably get to this trend line, if not this little daily trend line, before we really roll over. Let's go over to crypto, Bitcoin. Zoom out, monthly chart. Solid minor trend line. We're close to it. Miners, we're going into a rising wedge, more bearish than it is bullish going forward, but we're really extended on the MACD. It's trying to cross over. We've got this little green inside bar. If we could drop and pop and then end up green after getting down to around 17,500, if we could pop by the end of August, it would set up September to be extremely bullish and head higher. Regardless, I'm going to be watching this trend line like a hawk. This is an inside green bar. It doesn't scream bottom to me. This does not scream bottom to me at all. I think we are caught up in the moving averages. We do have some type of a MACD divergence, a bit of one. And because of all this, we're dropping off of a green bar. Because of like everything that I just said, I do think this has a solid chance at bottoming. Maybe putting in some type of double bottom here would be perfect. It lines up with this trend line perfectly. We're caught up in the moving averages here. This is going to be looking for a rebound after we can get a drop here. That being said, this doesn't look great. I mean, it looks like a bear flag or just like more of a channel because it's so freaking long, but you know, this looks like more of a pretty bull flag breakdown. Nice, very nice signal bar there. Decent signal bar yesterday as well. The only thing I didn't like is how this had a flat top and it started to just drop, so I kind of just like sat on my hands. But beautiful setup, beautiful bear flag or channel, and you kind of had this signal bar here. And this is a beautiful signal bar. To get short there and have your stop right above it, it's such low risk. Love that. That's how I like to trade. I like to look for really good looking signal bars on the daily. And I don't think there's a better way to trade than that. So this is a beautiful setup. Obviously, we should head lower. Should. Not financial advice, and find support probably at that trend line. But we'll see. Maybe things go much lower. Anything's possible. Ethereum, is this a chart I usually use? I can't remember what I use. Okay, this is the one I use. Monthly, zoom out. Really extended on the MACD. All the crypto pretty much out there is really extended on the MACD. So I think we're due for like a relief rally. But trend line goes back to 2015, I think, right back there. Green monthly bar, caught up in the moving averages on the weekly. We've got a sort of divergence here with this going. We've got a potential inverted shoulder head. Could be getting back up here for an inverted shoulder and head higher. It's possible. We're pulling back. I'd expect a little bit more of a pullback. We need to pull back to the 10 simple moving on the weekly before we can head higher. And we're dropping off this green bar. We'll have to see how the week closes. If this closes similar to this or red, we can keep dropping. Then I'd like to see some reversal before we head higher. I think it's coming though. I do think it's coming. Rising wedge, kind of an ugly rising wedge with MACD divergence. I was expecting this. I don't like that we dropped off a green candle though. That, if anything, that says we are going to eventually bottom here, relief rally, and head higher. I think it's possible. Look at this descending wedge. Beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. With a beautiful signal bar here. Even if you got in late after the breakdown here, still just such a great trade. Just absolutely beautiful. So, yeah, nice price action on Ethereum though. I just wish this would have been given us like 1 or 2 more days here and then dropped. It would have looked a lot prettier, but whatever. XRP monthly, here we go. Very extended on the MACD. It's tried to cross over a few times now. I know it wanted to here. It would have looked so good if it would have started breaking out here. It would have looked so good. And I know they probably dropped it just because of that. We had this trend line here. Like everything was looking so good. We had this potential cup and handle, and then they just like ruined it. Now we've got this potential really deep handle. It just doesn't look as good. But bottom line is we've got this green inside bar. We're really extended on the MACD. We're looking for this, if this can, before the month of August is over. If we can drop really quick, pop really quick, and close the month green, that is going to be so extremely bullish if that happens. If we just close red, then that's not looking at nearly as good, but this is really extended on the MACD. So maybe we could get some kind of a relief rally still. You know, when I see something like this, I'm like, well, if we could just drop really quick and pop really quick, even if we close red, maybe we could get a rally from there. But we really need to drop really quick before the month's over. The weekly, we're caught up in the moving averages. We're dropping off of a green bar. That gives me more confidence that we're gonna see some kind of reversal. We have this channel. We're coming into it. That gives me more confidence. We've got the MACD divergence going on the weekly. We might even get a much cleaner divergence here if we can just drop next week and then pop, and then maybe that last week with those few days before we go into September, the weekly gets up, closes green, and then September is like a big green month. I could definitely see that happening here. We have this beautiful channel going, and we still have, like, I guess you could kind of say it's potentially a cup and handle. This handle is getting really freaking deep, you know, to the point where I don't feel comfortable calling it a cup and handle, you know. Like, this thing could, if we keep dropping, it could get ugly, and it could get ugly really fast. But I'm still pretty bullish. Like, we're really extended to the downside. I do think this can get a rebound, like a lot of crypto out there. You've got a potential inverted shoulder here. Could this be an inverted head? We get here, we break out, we get to this the neckline area, or somewhere in here, you know what I mean? You can draw, we have this potential area, we get to the neckline, pull back, kind of test our channel trend line, break up, and explode. And that gets us to above our cup and handle area, where you would just be like, all right, we've broken out, we're probably going to skyrocket. So I'm eyeing that, I'm watching that. XLM, same kind of story. We have a potential ascending wedge, bigger ascending wedge, goes back to 2017, or a potential cup and handle, depends on what happens here. But bottom line is, we are getting really freaking close. When we get to this trend line, I'm a buyer 100%. How much lower is it from current levels? About 17, 18%, something like that. Comes in around 0.0885, something like that, 0.09. We'll just call it 0.09 to be nice and fair. That's what's going on for that. QNT, another popular one, was in a ugly ass falling wedge, inverted shoulder, inverted head. Can we get an inverted shoulder to head higher? The measured move would take it to around 450. That's also the high of this falling wedge, which would be the target. Daily shows the same picture, you know, potential inverted shoulder, potential inverted head, potential inverted shoulder in the making. That's pretty much it. This video is getting long. I'm going to cut it off there. If there's any other crypto you want me to do a video on, let me know, but that's what I got going. Cardano ADA. It's kind of the same story across the board. The monthlies all look very, very similar. So I'm expecting a similar type of story here going on. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for watching.